everybody. So this is going to be a brief look at this article, like a lesson, a PDF lesson that will help you write short stories from an aphorism or aphorism. I hope I'm saying this right. Aphorism. But yeah, this was on the site Scribe website. And I've been meaning to look this over, and I have so many questions. So this is creating a short story from a aphorism. Aphorism, however you say it. So let's zoom in here. Let's zoom in a little bit. Oh, it's not letting me zoom in. Guess I'm gonna have to go somewhere else to zoom in on here. Normally I can just go like this on the screen, but it's not letting me. Interesting. But we'll go through this. So basically it's like a bit of wisdom, or a sort of like quotation, or it could be like a phrase that seems like it inspires life, but there's like maybe a noun in the phrase, and it could even be some imagery or an image in the phrase. So it's like a line or a phrase that is used to express a customary truth. An imitation is the highest, like, for example, the imitation is the highest of flattery, form of flattery. That would be an aphorism or aphorism, however you want to say it. So, yeah. It's used to express a customary truth. So I got to thinking about movies and short stories that like uses a quotation or an aphorism here. And I was just watching the movie Vanishing with Sandra Bullock. I think that's Jeff Bridges in here. And it was like sort of like what goes around comes around, because he ended up getting a shovel in his mouth, and he had suffocated Sandra Bullock. So basically he ended up getting something happening to his mouth, the way he put the cyanide or whatever on his victim's mouth. So it was kind of like almost a little play on what goes around comes around. But I also feel like they use like be careful what you wish for, that phrase, because Kiefer Sutherland really wanted the answers. He was wishing to know exactly what happened to Sandra Bullock, exactly what happened to his girlfriend. So he was learning the lesson, be careful what you wish for. So that was in that. I think that stories, they don't just have aphorisms. They don't always be based on quotations, like the theme or main idea even of a part of a story. Sometimes they're based on idioms. I think that's what they're called, idioms. So let's look a little bit more into this. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole PDF, because this person do want you to download it from Scribe, SCRIBD.com website. So we're going to highlight a few things that I see right away. So Emerson may be implying that every literary work delineates a central idea that can be expressed as a maxim. So take Moby Dick, for example. They're saying here. So this is an example they're talking about. So when Moby Dick, it says, the more aggressively we pursue the mysteries of nature, the more those mysteries elude us. So, hey, that was in the Vanishing movie too, because every time he would go work hard to get a victim, it didn't work out. He had to pretend that he was injured, that he could have been a victim in order to attract a victim in the movie that I was just watching. So, So the movie I was just watching, it also uses the more aggressively we pursue the mysteries of nature, the more those mysteries elude us. So yeah, that goes where, like, when you try to find inspiration, you can't find it. But as soon as you try to become inspiration, inspiration comes to you. I mean, that's how, yeah, you find it. And that even goes, like, when I'm like on a hunt, like I'm going to write a poem. When I think like that, no poem will come. When I'm trying to figure out how to write a poem, it doesn't happen. But as soon as I say, I'm not trying to write a poem, I'm just trying to get some content for a poem, I end up writing a poem. So this is an interesting bit of wisdom here. I think that applies to almost any part of your life. That could even go with a relationship. The more you chase something that you want but you don't know very well, you don't know the true nature of it, you just attracted to it, the more you can't get it. So I guess it is like, become it and then you'll get it. So yeah. I'm getting deep into this. So let's see. He says, wisdom packed in a single sentence or two have a way of firing up. Oh, y'all, this is skipping. Have a way of firing up. Let's get this down here. I usually don't have any problems with this, but I'm starting to have problems. I want to see what it's saying right there. Okay, we can always go to the bottom of this page, see what happens. Y'all, this don't normally happen. I don't know what's going on with this. Normally it moves with no problem. So you got to see that. You got to see that. It says normally it fire up. Yeah, I have no idea why it's skipping like this. It normally doesn't do this. I had to use the sidebar. Let's go to the next page. Fire up the imagination. So let's zoom this in. Let's see if I can get that to zoom in. I want to zoom in. Normally I could zoom in. I don't know why it's not. There we go. That's a lot better. Looks like you can see it better, huh? Let's go to this page. So it's giving you like some steps here. As you see, there's steps. Alright, we're going to highlight that. Highlight. So this person that wrote this is basically teaching you how to take the approach of using like an aphorism. But remember that you can use idioms all within the story, the theme that's based upon the aphorism. Okay? So you can have little scenes within your story that are based on idioms. And all those idioms fit under the aphorism, the main theme of the story. Okay? So he gives you places to look for quotations. So he's basically telling you to pick a quotation, an aphorism or something. He says, in all labor there's profit. Look at this one. This is a quotation here. Alright, that's a nice quotation. Right here. It was in a letter to Michelangelo, Albert Einstein. I didn't even know they was talking. Michelangelo Besso. So, or I guess Proverbs or whatever, or something here. I'm trying to get y'all to see it closer. But, So basically, anything that you work really hard for will eventually give you a blessing. That even means, like, even with revenge. Revenge requires a lot of hard work. So I was just watching the movie Becky, and she had to do like all these different steps. I was watching part 2, The Wrath of Becky, and she had to do all these different steps, these different things to make sure her revenge worked. And they show how she labored over it, like how she set the traps and all that stuff. So we have to keep in mind that when you're writing stories, just like poetry, you have to show. So you have to show the quotation, celebrate it through scenes and dialogue in your story. Okay? I'm not going to show the whole thing because I don't want the person getting upset that I might be ruining their traffic to their PDF. But you can get the PDF of theirs at the Scribe site, scribd.com. All right, let's give credit. Credit goes to the author of this PDF. I don't see the person, but whoever, it doesn't really say who wrote the article, even though I know who uploaded it. So, So, yeah. Credit goes to whoever wrote this PDF, this long PDF article type. This is the kind of stuff I'll be publishing as well. So y'all can buy my PDF and articles. But I'm not going to show y'all the whole PDF because I don't want to ruin it for the person. So feel free to go to Scribe site or Scrib site. That's if you want to call it Scrib, and look up a short story from Aphorism, how to create a short story from an aphorism. I highly recommend that you also look up how to use idioms in your story, like how to base your stories on idioms as well. Keep in mind that poetry also can be based on an aphorism or an idiom. You just have to base it upon the end resolve. And if you don't know what that is, check out a video by Daniel Teasdale where he says poetry can save a life. He explains what the end resolve is. You just have to make sure it's the end resolve. So, for example, if you were going to use an idiom, aphorism, and it was like based upon the one used in Moby Dick, like say you were using this one. The more aggressively we pursue the mysteries of nature, the more those mysteries elude us. Let's say you were using that. You would base it upon the end resolve. So you wouldn't write your narrative about going after Moby Dick. You would write what happened after you went after Moby Dick. What happened? You know, what did you do when you didn't catch Moby Dick? Or what did you do after you caught Moby Dick, or after Moby Dick got away from you? If it eluded you, what happened? That's when that's where you would pick up writing your poem. You write a poem starting in a different place than how a story starts. Okay? Alright, so once again, if you want to learn more about the end resolve for poets who want to find out how to start their poems, if they're using an aphorism to find their way into the story, at least that surrounds their poem, and you want to learn how to start a poem, you can look up Daniel Teasdale's video, How Poetry Can Save a Life. He talks about the end resolve. Now, of course, with some narrative poetry, you may start at where the accident or the traumatic thing occurred. All right? So, for example, if I want to use this, and I would say, if Moby Dick eluded me, I can easily say if it was a narrative poem, I could start with He bashed the ship to smithereens with his big gray tail. He crushed the ship with his big gray tail. Because I think Moby Dick was like grayish looking. With his thick, long gray tail, he crushed the ship. Okay, I could start with that. And then that if I was starting a narrative poem. But then I would have to talk about the effects of him crushing the ship with his tail. So, you know, that would be my narrative poem. Continuing from there. Once again, that's my idea. Do not take my idea. Do not take the start of my narrative poems, because I do document everything that I come up with as examples. Please come up with your own examples for your own poetry, your own narrative main ideas. Okay. All the content in this video is the rights of the authors, even any examples that I gave. My own example and any examples that was given in this PDF. If you enjoyed this brief little tutorial, feel free to let me know. I know if I went to write a short story, even a series of poems, I would already have the aphorisms, the quotations, and the idioms already picked out, as well as each chapter theme and the idioms and aphorism and quotations that could fit in each chapter. And then I would go and write poems based on each one, each quotation or aphorism or idiom per chapter. It's better to already have your chapters. Now what you can do is go to chat GPT online, like the AI generator, chat generator, generate yourself a table of contents. All you got to do is change the names of your chapters and all that, and then all you got to do is pick idioms and aphorisms and quotations that match those chapters, and then all you got to do is write your work based on all of that, based on any of the idioms or aphorism or quotations that are in your chapters. Okay, I will have a PDF I'll end up creating. It'll explain it more. There's other steps that I think a person should take if they're going to write a book of short stories or a book of poems. But this will get you started. Always prepare the outline, the chapter outline in all of your book first. It makes it easier to decide what aphorisms and quotations and idioms that you want to choose, that you need to choose to base your work on. Alright, once again, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to let me know. Thanks for watching.